Welcome to the town board meeting for the town of Ossining for October 28th, 2014. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember Jeffrey?
Present.
Councilmember Harder?
Present.
Councilmember Wilshire?
Present.
And Supervisor Donnelly?
Present.
Do we have any announcements this evening?
We're going to hold off on our major announcement for the end of the meeting, but we do want to remind everyone that Friday is Halloween. We want all our little ghosts and goblins and princesses and whatever you desire to be. I saw someone today and they had named their daughter Charlotte, and they were going to be the web, and it was a little baby, and she was going to be a spider. I thought that was adorable. To be very, very careful. And don't forget the all-important Dare Halloween party over at the community center starts at 6 p.m. Hot dogs and apple juice and popcorn and candy and games and all sorts of things. So come on over and to the Dare Halloween party over at the community center. Also, don't forget to vote next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is Election Day. Locally, we have village people running locally. There is state people running. There is even federal Congress people running. There is no one running in the town this year. It has allowed us to just continue working without any interruptions, so it's good. On Tuesday, the offices are closed except for the clerk's office. It's one of their favorite days. They start at 5 o'clock in the morning and they go till midnight. So it's one of their favorite days
We're lucky.
of the year.
Opposition on that.
Oh, there are 3 propositions. You're absolutely right. And I don't have them in front of me, but please go online or go to the library or go find out what they're all about. You have 1 week and make sure that you have made your decision on those propositions. Just to remind you, and we'll do it again at the end of the meeting, our agendas, our meeting agendas have kind of shifted this year. Tuesday is Election Day, and the next Tuesday happens to be Veterans Day. So we will be meeting on Monday, November 3rd, in a work session. We will then be meeting on the 12th of November. That will be a Wednesday night, and that will be a legislative meeting. On the 25th, which will be, November 18th, excuse me, I almost skipped a day. November 18th will be our final town hall meeting for 2014, hard to believe. And that will be, of course, at the library. And the 25th will be a legislative meeting where we'll be having the public hearing for our budget. And then we will have one more work session, and then we're looking to, our proposed date for approving our budget is December 9th. Some of these dates are very important. We must stay within, it's a very rigid date time frame that you must stay into for your budgetary purposes. But at the end of the meeting, we'll have more on that. And Madam Clerk, unless anybody else has anything to say right now?
Do we have any public comments on agenda items?
You have a nice little agenda tonight.
Okay. Resolved that the town board of the town of Ossining hereby approves the October 14th, 2014 minutes of the regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain. Isn't that the meeting I wasn't at, Matt? Is that the meeting? I can't remember.
Yeah. Was it a work agenda?
No, it was the legislature.
Oh,
It's the
yeah, yeah,
last
it was
one.
the
Yeah,
legislative.
last one.
Okay, so.
Yeah. Sometimes you just all fold together.
Is that the truth? Resolved that the town board of the town of Ossining hereby approves the October 21st, 2014 minutes of the special meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the town board of the town of Ossining hereby approves the voucher detail report dated October 28th, 2014, in the amount of $332,677.22. Do I have a motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the town board of the town of Ossining hereby authorizes the town clerk to advertise a request for bids for the delivery of meals and supplies for the nutrition program located in the Ossining Community Center. Bids shall be submitted no later than 10 a.m. on Monday, November 17th, to the office of the town clerk. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is that contract up, or is it?
It was actually a 2-year contract that allowed a 1-year extension, and so they've done that. So now we're at the 3-year mark.
Oh, okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that the town board of the town of Ossining hereby calls for a public hearing to be held on Wednesday, November 12th, 2014, at 7:30 p.m. at the Village of Ossining Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street, in the matter of local law number 5 of 2014 for the purpose of changing the town taxable status date from June 1st to May 1st. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I just want to remind everybody that this is the public hearing. We're there for listening to your comments. We're trying to move the tax status date. We'll do a tremendous amount of outreach. It's really when you have to have your exemptions in, and with the amount of work that the assessor's office has right now, we need that extra time to make sure everyone is accurately, all their exemptions are noted correctly.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have monthly reports. Resolved that the town board of the town of Ossining hereby accepts the GE Crotonville helicopter report for the month of September 2014.
So
Do I-
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Before we get to a visitor's recognition, I want to do what we were going to add to the agenda. According to the New York State law, all towns must submit to the town clerk their next year's budget by the 30th of October. The 30th of October is this Thursday. We have decided to do it this evening. We are comfortable with having Marianne Roberts, who is our town clerk, to receive the budget from us. Maddie is the budget director. Marianne it's a whole ceremony. She has to stamp it. She has to date stamp it and time stamp it. She has all her stuff with her. And then I'm going to read the message to the community regarding the supervisor's tentative. This is the supervisor's budget. This is the one that we start working on. The town board will receive their copies of the budget, and I'll read in later. You'll hear where all the places where the budget will be that you can look at it and review it yourselves. And as I said before, there'll be plenty of public hearings. There'll be plenty of town hall meetings, and we want as much input as possible. So, Maddie? Ta-da. Hey, yay. Supervisor's tentative budget has been submitted to the town clerk. And now I'm going to read the message that's part of it. Do you mind, Madam Clerk? Is it okay? Entering the 4th year of the 2% tax cap has required new levels of creativity and innovation for the town of Ossining. Again this year, the rate of growth has been lower than 2%, and our tax levy has subsequently become a 1.56% cap, which further ties our hands of what we can expend. Although projections remain mostly optimistic, revenues continue to be unreliable, and the need for conservative budgeting has never been clearer. Federal and state aid continues to decrease while towns' expenses continue to rise. Between the ever-climbing cost of our electricity, our employee health insurance, which is expected to rise as much as 6% in 2015, our retirement contribution, our fixed expenses continue to rise markedly faster than the levy increase that we're entitled to by New York State law. To complicate the situation further, in 2015, for the first time, the town is subject to a New York State tax freeze legislation, in which municipalities are even more pressured to reduce expenses instead of just holding them steady. Furthermore, we continue to contend with assessment challenges on the values of our residential and commercial properties. Between residential SCARs, small claims by residents, and tax certiorari's enacted by commercial property owners, the tax base of the town of Ossining and across almost every municipality in Westchester continues to be impacted, as does the average residential assessment. As the economy continues to improve, the town has seen new construction, which has served to counter the lower assessments resulting from tax certiorari claims. This is especially clear in the unincorporated area, where we have seen a 1.07% increase in taxable assessed value in 2015, while the town general has seen a modest but still promising 0.15 increase, so that's 0.15% increase. However, exclusive of new construction, we are confident the town-wide revaluation plan into which we entered with other Westchester municipalities to reach economics of scale on pricing will help slow and eventually eradicate these reductions and find fair and equitable balance for all our taxpayers. That said, we have been very diligent in the last year in working with our department heads on their budgets, constantly evaluating their needs, reevaluating the sustainability of the way we do business in certain areas, and making changes as necessary to benefit the long-term bottom line of the town of Ossining. Lots of innovative and bold thinking has led to decisions that have long-lasting impact on how town reserves will be able to grow. Selling the police station, contracting with the Village of Ossining Police, and budgeting revenues and expenses to more appropriate funds has helped us to cast a different light on services we provide and how we can best provide them. One of the best outcomes in this mindset is that we were able to take care of non-emergency infrastructure concerns that we all see every day without borrowing money to remedy them. These tough economic times have spared few of us entirely, but we are still seeing properties that, for multiple reasons, have fallen behind in their taxes and enter or become teeterly dangerously close to entering foreclosure. Permitting residents with tax obligations additional time to sell their properties in order to derive a profit from the sale after having satisfied their debts with all interest and penalties has helped the town to make whole a handful of properties. We've also put some qualified taxpayers on very limited tax payment plans in order to give them time to make good on their liens. A successful foreclosure auction this summer has relieved the burden of unpaid taxes on multiple properties that have been accruing fines and penalties for years, ending that cycle that not only gives the property a new life, but brings new families to our community. But it also allows the town to increase cash flow and operate more smoothly with fewer outstanding debts on our books. Property owners taking out permits for work done, sometimes after the fact, as with some homeowners selling their property or preparing for the reassessment, coupled with an upswing of new construction, mostly commercial in the unincorporated area, and increased enforcement of our building codes has resulted in revenue for the town of Ossining above what we projected for 2014. Overall, the news is good, but each day brings a new set of challenges. All of this work has provided us with a cautiously optimistic level of comfort as we approach the 2015 budget cycle. We have determined that after 3 years of leaving the position vacant, we will fill the position of confidential secretary in the supervisor's office. Some of the functions we expect this person to perform include searching and administrating grants, managing our time clock system, Con Ed help desk monitoring, inventory and cyber threat monitoring, and Dale Cemetery book record keeping. We know this position will be an asset to the overall town team and our productivity. One of the IMAs that we have with the Village of Ossining is recreational services for the unincorporated area. This IMA has been in the town general budget for many years, So, in fact, the people that live in the villages of Osting and Briarcliff Manor have been paying twice for their recreation services. Over the past few years, we have moved revenues such as cable franchise fees from the town general to the unincorporated area budget. And now, in the interest of fairness, we will be moving the recreation service IMA to the unincorporated area budget. During our discussions with the village, we stressed the need for the residents of the unincorporated area to pay the same fees for the recreation department services as do the residents of the village of Osting. The village has agreed to charge unincorporated area residents the same rate as village residents for their rec card and all recreation services, including the use of the pool. The only exception will be lap swimming. The unincorporated area lap swimmers will continue to pay a higher rate than village residents, and others outside of the area, including Briarcliff Manor residents, will pay a different rate entirely. Please note, even if you have a Briarcliff Manor address but live in the unincorporated area, you will still benefit from this change. There's a lot of people in District 20 that have a Briarcliff zip code. It's simply a zip code. We would like to encourage each of you to visit the Joseph G. Caputo Community Center, especially the Aquatic Center, and sign up for their e-blasts, which outline the programming for each season. There's always a variety of classes offered, and they will be looking to add more, especially new computer classes this winter that may be of interest to you. In 2014, Moody's Investment Services improved the town's credit rating to AA2 from AA3, which allows us to borrow at a more favorable interest rate. This display of confidence in the way the town is headed is due to the amazing work of all of our employees, but I would be remiss if I did not give extra thanks to Maddie, and Maddie knows I have terrible time with her last name, soon to be Baxter, Dale Ferrara, and Tom Warren. These three people work constantly to make sure we stay on top of the budget, that the procurement policy is followed when making departmental purchases, and ensuring that simple policies are put into place and followed, such as the controls of supplies and materials. One of our biggest successes for 2014 was the sale of and the retirement of debt on the police station at 507 North State Road. By continuing to pay off all financing possible whenever a bond becomes callable, we will save the unincorporated taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars over the coming years in interest alone. We will continue to pay down our debt on the building and have budgeted an additional payment encompassing 50% towards the final balloon payment on the police station. The building will now be paid off in full by 2017. There's some bonds that you can't pay off in advance. We paid off everything that we could. Many concurrent factors have allowed us to realize a 0% tax increase in the 20 fund for 2015. The difference between 2014 and 2015 funds is that we need to operate unincorporated area departments, including the savings in the police contract proposal, coupled with other reduced liabilities related to staffing and the police station, that may otherwise result in a tax increase. Any other savings will be put into a contingency fund for 2015. These funds will be used to pay back tax grievances, make certiorari payments, and fund some of the much-needed road work that we need done. Allowing us to pay for these items out of our operating budget rather than borrowing with interest makes good budgetary sense, even with today's low interest rates. It is not free money, and decreasing our debt load is responsible strategy. We have confidence in our employees and in the leadership of our neighboring municipalities. We will continue working hard on in 2015, to uncover innovative ways to save money and derive revenue from non-property tax sources. We are continuing our 20-plus IMA intermunicipal agreements with the Village of Ossining, and we are always brainstorming how our departments can do more with less without any interruption of service. We will also experience some staff changes this year, all of which we hope will save taxpayer money while enhancing the services we provide by allowing us to hire people at a lower rate. Our tax increase for 2015 complies with the levy increase by the tax cap law, 1.56% plus a 0.28% growth factor. Our general town tax fund, paid by all the residents of the town of Ossining, has seen a 1.6% increase. The town unincorporated blended rate, of which we charge for police, building department, and highway services, shows a increase of 0.20, so it's a 0% tax increase. Every other tax increase is minimal. Even though the tax rate has gone up 91.15% in the water fund, remember we don't have our own water department, that still only accounts for 90 cents per thousand assessed of value. This sharp increase is due to a debt of one of our many massive infrastructure projects the town has undertaken in the recent past, namely the Cedar Lane Stormy Road water main. This is the first year we will have to make a bond payment on the project, but we think you'll agree that this major improvement to our infrastructure, to say nothing about the increased quality of life for our residents out on Cedar Lane, is worth an increase of 50 cents per thousand assessed. 50 cents. The supervisor's tentative budget will be available at the clerk's office at 16 Croton Avenue, the Ossining Town Public Library, and online at townofossining.com. The town board will be holding its final town hall meeting for 2014 on November 18th. Please join us at 7:30 p.m. at the Ossining Public Library. Use the downstairs entrance, where we will be gathering board and public input on the 2015 tentative budget. Your opinions matter to us. We are working for you, the taxpayers, to create a sensible and sound budget while keeping costs low and maintaining and even improving service levels. The Ossining Town Board will be discussing the supervisor's tentative budget during November work sessions and will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, November 25th, 2014 at 7:30 right here in the police court facility, 88 Spring Street. We urge members of the public to review the budget and make comments at the public hearing or by contacting me directly at 914-762-6001 or sdonley@townofossining.com. So we're very proud of a budget that has a 0 increase for the unincorporated area, and it has a 1.6% for the town general. And understanding what we are going to do is starting next Monday. Remember, our work session is Monday, November 3rd. We will start explaining some of the items that had to go into this particular budget that we might not have seen. One of those items that our town attorney will be talking to us about next Monday, not tonight, will be the fact that we had to budget $100,000 in anticipation of legal services for the 1720 lawsuit. So there's a lot that goes into this budget. There's a tremendous amount of work. A lot of people have been working very hard at it, and I want to thank everyone that has participated. The board will be meeting with department heads during this whole month that we have to work on this too, to hear them talk about their budgets if they need to, and we are very proud that we'll be able to move forward and continuing doing some of the infrastructure projects and stuff that we have been looking to do all along. But we have some massive ones in the works right now, such as Old Albany Post Road dead end. So Maddie will be handing the board members their copies of the budget. This is a complete budget. You can wait. They can get it at the end. And but we would like you to look it over. And we're there to answer any questions. And Tom Warren has joined us tonight, mainly to make sure I said the right numbers. And but will be with us, I hope, next Monday. He's trying to shift his schedule around because that's an odd day to have a meeting. So, but we look forward to hearing comments on this and for people to truly understand how the whole the town budget is different from the village budget, whereas the village budget is one big budget. We are lots of little budgets. So, or not so little, but lots of different budgets, I should say.
Moving to visitor recognition. Is there anyone that would like to address the board?
Good evening, Madam Supervisor and members of the board. My name is Mark Fry. I'm a member of the Ossining Boat and Canoe Club, and I'm the chairman of the research committee as we prepare for our 100th anniversary. We've been having a lot of fun with four of us actually doing research, and we're just beginning to transition to the first of the writing. It's going to be a coffee table book. It'll be available with wonderful photographs, and it'll tell the history of the Ossining Boat Club for the last 100 years. As a little bit of entertainment, I know you do very serious work here, but there are some great old articles we picked out, and as we came 2 weeks ago, we have just a couple of snippets we'd like to read to you for your benefit and for the benefit of those watching. The first one comes from the Citizen Sentinel newspaper, the March 28, 1925 edition. Ossining Boat, the headline is Ossining Boat and Canoe Club awaits opening of aquatic season. Commodore Michael Johnson of the Ossining Boat and Canoe Club looked the part of a jovial buccaneer Sunday as he whistled and sang in his voluntary labor of installing a retiring room in the 60-foot by 40-foot modernized colonial design clubhouse on the riverfront, opposite the station of the New York Central lines. Commodore Johnson has a drooping, heavy black mustache, which looks piratical, like a pirate, if one does not understand that he is a personification of good cheer. And his merry crew, consisting of the 60 and more members of the lively aquatic organization, swear by him and not at him in their loyalty to his interests to one and all of the personnel, not to mention his ever-dominant desire to have the commodious clubhouse as near perfection as they make 'em. Indeed, it is Commodore Johnson's practical and energetic work that the home of the Ossining Boat and Canoe Club was reared. At his suggestion, for he never orders, the membership jumped in and the clubhouse was built entirely by the boys. Now, just as an aside, there was another one-line article in the May 4th, 1921 edition that said that the Ossining Boat and Canoe Club had decided on May 4th, 1921, to build a clubhouse. And now we're 4 years on. Going back to the article, and it is a right smart and comfortable clubhouse at that, provided with every necessity for things nautical, social, and other attributes of a life on the ocean waves, which in this instance means the noble Hudson and adjacent waters. Upon the first floor is a canoe storage room, provided racks for 40 craft, with locker rooms for boating devotees and canoeists, augmented by a workshop and heating plant room and toilet. In front, facing the river, of course, is a wide porch extending the full length of the building, from which a runway leads to the landing float in the good old summertime. Upon the runway swing is block and tackle for emergency repairs to motorcraft, so the gay Corinthian has no cause to patronize neighbors and friends here and in other parts when anything goes wrong with their craft. Boaters back then apparently were called gay Corinthians. That may be seen differently now. Upon the second floor is ensconced the meeting room, 38 by 40 feet, recently improved by conventional Georgia pine flooring, greatly to the delight of those who foregather for dancing, with a kitchen, boatkeeper's room, and the embryo retiring room mentioned aforesaid. Those of us who don't remember what a retiring room was in 1925, apparently they were putting in additional restrooms. So here we have all the comforts of home, plus a broad piazza from which the far reaches of the Tappan Zee may be enjoyed as one tilts back to capacious rocking chairs. The joiner work in the dance room is done in hardwood and beaver board, paneled in tasty design. That's exactly the ceiling that you look at today. The hardboard is the brown on the bottom of the scissor trusses, and the beaver board are those 4x8 panels of that soft material. Another thing you'll find today, from the center is suspended a lighting fixture as novel as it is reminiscent. The mahogany steering wheel of the hay barge Caledonian, which went to pieces at Sparta Dock a number of years ago, is made to do duty as a circle upon which to hang a number of pendant electric light bulbs. The center being a dome light of 100 candle power. It was on the main deck of the barge Caledonian that the late John L. Sullivan really began his pugilistic career, engaging in a contest with one flood upon the waters that netted Sullivan $1,000. So John L. Sullivan fought on the barge Caledonian to an enormous crowd. The barge ran aground, and where's the steering wheel, the mahogany steering wheel today? On the roof of, I'm sorry.
Are you going to read this whole article?
Oh, it'll just take one. I'm almost finished. The building is located upon land filled in and leased.
I suggest you put this on your webpage.
Oh, it is. It will be, but
Okay.
I wanted to, for the benefit of those, for the board and so forth, to read this. And,
You
almost
gave us
finished.
all copies, too. So.
Yes, and I will read it into the record. Thank you. The building is located upon filled in and leased property from the New York Central lines, the plat being sufficiently ample space upon which to store motorboats during winter time. At present, there are about 30 votes upon the hard, which means Mother Earth, all taken from the water last fall via marine railway, provided with all the facilities of a miniature shipyard. The ways are provided with a winch and has a turntable, thus affording the opportunity to run craft off upon the lateral tracks, obviating the first boat out in the fall being the last out in the spring. In all, there are over 300 feet of trackage, enough to and sufficient to put in a large fleet in ordinary. Ossining Boat and Canoe Club was organized about 8 years ago, having quarters in what is now the Naval Militia Boathouse on the Charles G. Washburn property. For those who don't know, that's where Hudson Harbor is rising today. Here, the Chatham Yacht and Canoe Club and the Ossining Yacht Club had their respective first homes and grew to be flourishing institutions in the days of sailboat racing, the Chathamucks surviving the coming of motorboats. John T. Highland preceded Commodore Johnson, reigning for 4 years, during which the club abandoned swaddling clothes and branched out into water sports galore. It continues that Ernest Rydell, a member living in New York, holds the championship of the Atlantic Division of the American Canoe Association, won at Sugar Island in the St. Lawrence River last year, proving his prowess as a single paddler. During Johnny Highland's command, the organization flourished like a green bay tree and is now free from all debt. Johnny retired in January last, leaving the helm to Commodore Johnson, who has a spirit emulating his predecessor. I'll leave the name of the articles out and finish with a tiny piece here about Commodore Johnson in August of the same year. Commodore Johnson enjoys clam bake despite a plunge, falls into Hudson with a big splash, when pole snaps. Commodore Michael Jackson of the Ossining Yacht and Canoe Club was still able to care for his full share of the club clam bake held yesterday, despite an involuntary 18-foot plunge into the Hudson River Saturday afternoon. The Commodore, who is of generous build, was on a gym pole assisting in making some repairs to the float when the pole broke, and with it, the Commodore fell into the water. Mr. Johnson hit the water first, and the pole fortunately fell to one side so that he was not injured beyond having the wind knocked out in the fall. Club members state that the Commodore hit the water first because of his superior weight, but students of the law of gravity claim that this could not be so. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you for your comments.
Do we have anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Good evening, I'm Tom Earl, 86 Edgewood Road, Ossining. And I have an article, as you know, that we are celebrating our 100th year this year, and we'll celebrate our anniversary in May. This is an article from our 50th anniversary. Ossining Boat and Canoe marks 50 years from the Yonkers Statesman, June 24th, 1965. There is nothing fancy or highly organized about us, says a member, but when a boat needs to be launched or the clubhouse repaired, the job gets done. It gets done, he added, with a minimum of fuss and a minimum of cost, because the Ossining Boat and Canoe Club is a cooperative venture. Cooperation among members continues as the byword, as the club celebrates its 50th anniversary year. The club, located on the Hudson River just south of the Ossining Railroad Station, was founded in nearby quarters in 1915. The present clubhouse on Westerly Road was built by the members' own labor in 1921 and has been maintained by them since. Consequently, the club boasts an excellent waterfront location with a reasonable schedule of charges to members. There are approximately 55 members from the county and New York City. 3 charter members still active are Timothy Brosnan of 44 Yale Ave, Ossining, treasurer, Irwin Cap Horton of 35 William Street, Ossining, secretary, and Harvey Haynes of 18 Observatory Drive, Harmon. They don't use their arms as much as they used to, the old-timers are apt to observe, in reference to the trend away from the club's original status as a canoe club. Most members maintain power craft ranging from the likes of Jerry Hitchcock's 30-foot cabin cruiser, Seagull, to outboards. Some prefer sails, as does Richard Andrews, a teacher at Scarborough School, who sails a nearly capsize-proof outrigger, which really parts the water when the wind rises. A few canoes remain in the club, and members will sometimes paddle to Croton Point for a picnic. But the heyday of canoeing is past. When the club was founded, canoeing was an active national sport. The club put a group in the water called the Black Hawks, which competed as far away as Canada in a 4-man racing canoe. The Ossining Boat and Canoe Club is housed in a 2-story building containing a large canoe room opening directly to the dock, a restroom, dining room, and a porch for the rocking chair fleet. There is a marine railway and yard for repairs and storage of heavy craft, and a ramp for launching light craft from trailers. The dock and float with a skiff serves the moored craft. Fishing offers an active attraction for many of the members who go out regularly after striped bass, perch, tomcods, and crabs. Each season, the club runs a contest for the largest single catch. This season, a 3.5-pound striper boated by Bus Brosnan holds the lead. The club's location on the east bank of the Tappan Zee provides its sailors with miles of water and, some claim, much better sailing than Long Island Sound. I was raised on the Sound, says one chauvinist, and rowed home more often than not. On the Tappan Zee, our summer breezes are more honest. That opens a way to much debate, some of which can be carried out on the club's porch at the end of a day's sail as the sun sets behind unspoiled Hook Mountain across the Tappan Zee, and the old-timers recall the strong-arm days of a half century ago.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom, before you go, I guess your dance fee's going up to $2 by now, right? I see in here it's $1 per couple, so I'm assuming. So I'll get my ticket later.
Okay, thank you.
Fast forward to modern day and much shorter. Thank you for allowing me to speak. And I apologize because this is not as upbeat.
Can you hear her, Tom? Okay. Donna, can you get a little closer because we can barely hear you.
May I have your name and home address?
Donna
please?
Sharrett, 84 Morningside Drive. And I have a copy.
And Donna actually lives in the town of Boston.
Town of Ossining. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. The Pentagon released a climate change report on October 13th, 2014. A New York Times article published the following day described this as, and I quote, a report asserting decisively that climate change poses an immediate threat to national security. This is the Pentagon report. With increased risks from terrorism, infectious disease, global poverty, and food shortages, end quote. I told you this wasn't as upbeat as yours. Sorry. You should have followed me. We need to change direction and business as usual in how we develop and how we protect our environment. In an email sent to this town board dated October 15, 2014, 2 days after the Pentagon report, I requested that the town board immediately create and adopt 3 local laws to create better protection to the residents and the environment of the town of Ossining. A public notification, local law in step with the way our residents receive information in the 21st century, a local law to ensure that all development issues with possible environmental impacts are reviewed by the town's Environmental Advisory Committee, and a local law to offer stronger protections for our town's wetlands. Is the last of these that I'll address here. Our wetlands have been here longer than us and longer than the boat club. Their eco-services include carbon sequestration, flood mitigation, and critical habitats for animal and plant species. Scant amounts of wetlands remain in the town of Ossining due to disregard to their worth and to limiting size considerations in now outdated code. Immediate protection of the remaining wetlands is crucial. To continue to permit their destruction makes us, as a community, part of the global climate change problem. I ask that the town board immediately adopt the following, and as such become part of the solution. A local law which recognizes the definition of a wetland as all areas that comprise hydric soils or are inundated or saturated by surface or groundwater at a frequency and duration sufficient to support, and under normal circumstances to support, a prevalence of hydrophytic vegetation. This language is taken directly from the City of Rye Wetlands and Water Course Code. I ask that you create and adopt this local law without delay. I appreciate the opportunity and the ability to speak to you. The wetlands are powerless to do so. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Is there anyone else?
And as I wrote back to you, we are in receipt of your email. So, great.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Just a quick note, I think the Environmental Advisory Committee is doing a wonderful job, and I think that was, I certainly support that. Tarrytown has such a law, and it's, I think, a wonderful recommendation. Thank you.
Okay.
May I ask for a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second?
Sorry.
Either one of us.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Again, I want to remind everyone that Friday is Halloween, and we want everyone to be out there to be safe and take care. And also come join us at the Dare Halloween party at the community center from 6 to 8 for hot dogs, apple juice, popcorn, candy, lots of games, and lots of fun. Wear your costumes. Don't forget to vote next Tuesday. There are elections in the village of Ossining. There are elections in the not the county, the state and federal, on the state and federal. And there's three propositions on the agenda. Please check them out. The office will be closed on Tuesday except for Ms. Roberts' department because they do take care of the elections. So our schedule, again, for the fourth time in this meeting, but I think it's that important, is that our next work session will be Monday, November 3rd. And then on Wednesday, November 12th, we will have a legislative meeting here. On the 18th, we will have a town hall meeting. On the 25th, we'll have a public hearing on the budget. And on December 2nd, we'll have a work session. And on December 9th, we will be hopefully voting on our town budget. In that month and week, there is a tremendous amount of work to be done on the budget still. We hope you all read it. We hope you all look at it. We will be meeting, the town board will be meeting, we'll be meeting with the different department managers. Those meetings will be posted. And we will be talking about it at every single work session. Will be the majority of our work sessions. As we said before, the November 3rd work session, we will go over some of the key points as to what will be costing money next year that might be one-time deals. Yes, sir.
Madam Supervisor, you read some of those dates fairly quickly. Are those dates on the town's website?
They will make sure that they're posted and sent out in a blast too. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Because it's a very shifting change because we have two actual holidays where the office is actually closed on Tuesdays this year. And don't forget that November 11th is Veterans Day. Yep, thank you, and have a great week. And again, we'll see you next Monday, November 3rd, for a work session at 16 Groton Avenue, which we'll be discussing. It will be our first open discussion on the budget when everybody looks at this many-page document. Have a wonderful week. Thank you.